My name is Ramesses, great king of Egypt, chosen of Amun, guardian of the two lands. I was not raised to inherit a world at peace. I was raised to defend one that was breaking. They will tell you that Egypt was eternal, that our temples stood while others fell, that the Nile flowed on, unchanged, while foreign kings vanished into dust. They are wrong. I have seen the end approach. I have watched the world burn beyond our borders. Look into my eyes, and you will see what I saw at Djahy, the day when Egypt stood alone, and the age of kingdoms nearly died at our gates. It was the year 1178 before Christ. The world beyond Egypt was already coming apart. Great powers fell one by one, not to a single conqueror, but as if struck by the same unseen hand. Haughty, proud, ancient, feared, was broken. Its cities burned. Its kings vanished into memory. Al-Ashia fell silent. Ports that once carried copper and grain lay empty. Trade routes that had bound kingdoms together for centuries went dark. Ships no longer came. Caravans did not return. Across the lands, order gave way to hunger. Hunger gave way to movement. Messengers arrived from every direction, each bearing the same fear in his voice. An enemy unlike any before. Not one people, but many. Not an army raised by a king, but a force driven by collapse. They came by sea and by land, with ships and spears, and with families and wagons. They did not raid and withdraw. They did not seek tribute. They did not come to threaten. They came to replace what had fallen, and when there was nothing left to take, they turned their gaze toward Egypt. When the reports reached my court, I summoned my commanders. Maps were spread across the floor, coastlines traced with trembling fingers, names spoken that would soon be erased from memory. The Sea Peoples were moving south along the coast of Retjenu, toward the narrow lands that guarded the delta, toward Djahy. I knew that place well. A land caught between sea and desert, where armies could not spread wide, where numbers meant less and discipline meant everything. If they broke through there, Egypt would lie open. The Nile Delta would burn, and with it, the order of the world. I did not hesitate. I ordered the army north, not to threaten, not to bargain, but to end the storm. We marched beneath a sun that showed no mercy. Chariots rolled in disciplined lines, their wheels biting into sand and stone. Infantry followed, shields polished, spears upright, silence held by habit and training. At night, fires dotted the land like watchful eyes. I walked among my men, hearing the sound of armor being adjusted. Prayers whispered to gods both old and new. They did not ask if we would win. They asked only where to stand. That is the strength of Egypt. Not walls, not numbers, but order. Ahead of us, the smoke of foreign camps stained the horizon. The storm was waiting. At Djahy we saw them, their camps stretched across the plain, wagons drawn into wide arcs, ships hauled high onto the shore, banners snapping hard in the coastal wind. Smoke rose from 100 fires, blurring the line between land and sky. Their warriors stood in loose formations, not drilled as ours were, but hardened by constant movement. Long spears bristled above broad shields. Armor of many lands hung from their shoulders, mismatched, worn, bound together by necessity rather than tradition. They were not uniform, but they were relentless. This was no force sent to test our borders, no raid meant to gather plunder and retreat. Everything they carried with them told the same story. They had come to remain, to claim ground, to erase what stood before them. They looked upon the land of Djahy not as a battlefield, but as a threshold, and beyond it lay Egypt. At dawn, the air was still. Then the horns sounded. The sea peoples advanced, not in ordered ranks, but in rolling waves. Their cries carried hunger, not discipline, desperation, not fear. I raised my bow. At my signal, the sky darkened. Arrows fell like rain, striking shields, flesh, earth. Still they came. When they reached our line, the sound was like stone against stone. Shield met shield. Spear met spear. Chariots surged forward, cutting into their flanks. Horses screamed. Men fell. Dust swallowed the sun. They pressed hard, again and again, testing our line like a tide against a seawall. But Egypt did not break. By midday, the heat was merciless. Sweat ran into eyes. Arms burned with each strike. The dead lay where they fell, trampled into the earth. The sea peoples adapted quickly. They pushed deeper, seeking gaps, driving wedges into our formation. For a moment, a single terrible moment, I saw danger. Their warriors surged toward our rear, toward the wagons and reserves. If they reached them, order would collapse into chaos. I felt the weight of centuries press against my chest. This was the moment history would choose. I did not shout, I did not rush. I watched, and I saw what they could not. Their strength had carried them too far. Their advance had stretched their lines thin, leaving their wagons exposed. So I struck it. I gave the signal. My elite guard moved as one, cutting through the gap between warriors and wagons. Archers shifted their aim. Chariots wheeled inward, not to kill, but to divide. The sea peoples faltered. Warriors turned back. Shouts became screams. Order dissolved. That hesitation, that single breath of confusion, was enough. We advanced, not with fury, with precision. Shields pressed forward. Spears drove home. Archers loosed until their fingers bled. The sea peoples began to fall back, first in groups, then in fragments. Some fled toward the ships, others toward the wagons they had failed to protect. The field of Djahy became a place of broken paths and shattered intent. When the dust finally settled, Egypt still stood. The silence after battle is heavier than any noise. The wind moved through abandoned carts and torn banners. The dead lay beneath the same sun that had watched them arrive. We did not pursue them far. The lesson had been delivered. They would not break Egypt. I ordered the victory carved into stone, not as boasting, but as warning. Let the future know this. When the world collapsed, Egypt held. I am Ramesses. I stood at Djahy when the age of bronze began to crack, when the old world trembled and kings vanished like smoke on the horizon. I did not chase glory. I did not seek to be remembered as a conqueror. I stood because order demanded it. Because if Egypt fell, there would be nothing left to hold the world together. Look into my eyes. You will see no triumph there, no celebration, only duty fulfilled, only the quiet weight of what was preserved. And because we stood at Djahy, because we did not yield, history continued. Please, follow us for more battles.